All right, guys, this is me in post. I made a mistake. The video's too long. Um, Skip ahead to 30 minutes if you just want to see deck profile. If you're kind of new to Gravekeepers as a whole, maybe listen to the whole thing. It is a long one. Oops.
All right, guys, we're back at it again. This time with Gravekeepers. Um, Gravekeepers is a very interesting archetype because I think you can play it several different ways right now in Speed. And I'm gonna try to go over the cards. I don't quite have this deck solved. I don't know if anyone does. It's a hard deck to play, but it looks super fun. So let's go over the cards one at a time. Ambusher. This card's flip face up. Target card patrols, bottom of the deck. That's pretty annoying. This card is sent from the field to the graveyard, flipped up. Target necromancy graveyard with your hand. I don't think you really ever do this. Earlier in Speed, he was just a points monster, and I think he might just be that. Gravekeeper's Assailant. This card declares an attack while Necrovalley is on the field. Target face-up monster your opponent controls, change target's battle position. So that's like an easy way to kind of out or do damage if you're attacking the defense things, or out big monsters like something like a Jinzo. He's very cool and very strong. Um, but is he strong enough? And I don't think he's got enough points either. These two are best friends. This one says you contribute one Gravekeeper's monster, except himself, to burn for 700. And he's best friends with him because he said whenever he's summoned, burn for 500. There is a world where Gravekeeper's burn strategy is very viable. I don't know if it's right now, and I'm not going to try it. So they're both off my list. Gravekeeper's Chief. You can only control one face Gravekeeper's Chief. So, okay. Maybe only play one of them if you're going to play him. Your graveyard is unaffected by Necrovalley. That's pretty good. We like them being screwed. When this card is tribute summoned, target one Gravekeeper monster in your graveyard, special amount target. That seems strong. But the problem is, it's not strong enough. So I don't know if I like him. We'll put him here for now. Gravekeeper's Commandant. Most interestingly, he's the only Earth Gravekeeper monster we have. So if you're playing Lord of Darkness, he is the only one you cannot do that to. But anywho, discard this card, add Necrovalley. That feels amazing. That feels super good, and this might even be the side deck option with Necrovalley in the future. Frick. Oh my god, Necrovalley boring. Anywho, so we kind of like him because we like Necrovalley. Gravekeeper's Descendant. We'll get back to him. These are the three good ones. This one, that one, and this one. But we'll get back to them. So let's go to Gravekeeper's Guard. Flip target monster you controls and return to the target hand. This is a good card. I don't know if it's good in Gravekeepers, but this card I think has potential to see play in several different decks because it's huge defense points and the fact that he gets rid of their monster. So you could even just play him a Mana Your Bug and just do nonsense with him. But I don't think he's good in Gravekeepers. Big Boss Man. We like him too. We'll talk to him later. Gravekeeper's Priestess. Well, there's no face of field spell. This card is treated as Necrovalley. All Gravekeeper's monsters field gain 200 attack and defense. So, oh my god, I'm dying today. This card is interesting because it's essentially 12-17 and not really 10-15, and it kind of cheats that. And we like that for us. And the only problem with this card is if you get Book of Moon, Necrovalley, it doesn't negate like Necrovalley does. So that's its biggest issue. Is it sucks because it's not actually Necrovalley. Necrovalley is a good card. This thing is not Necrovalley, so it's not a good card. Gravekeeper's Shaman, another tribute monster. Gains defense for Gravekeeper's monster in your graveyard. That's not enough points. Negate all monster effects that activate in the graveyard except Gravekeeper's monsters. That's the other part of Necrovalley that we want on the other card. While Necrovalley's in the field, your opponent can activate field spells. Also, field spells cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That's cool. I did not know that part. I still think it sucks. Uh, you could Mystic Tomato it out. You could search with a lot of things. The fact that tribute monster in this deck, I think your normal summon is humongous, and I don't know if this is good enough. Gravekeepers, Spear Soldier. Attacks defense monster, do piercing. This does not need Necro Valley, which is notable. And he can do damage, which is also notable. He also looks like Cannon Soldier with a spear. I don't know if this card is strong. I'm almost certainly it's not. In a world where something like Dandelion tokens are coming out, this thing's awesome because you're killing them. You can get them for 2,000. But if anything, you side one if the format dictates. But this thing is too vanilla. The Gravekeepers Vassal may be the worst one. Any battle damage this card inflicts your opponents is treated as effect damage instead. This card hilariously fights through a Wabaku. It does not fight through much else. And he doesn't fight hard through it. So we don't like him. How do I put you here? The more I read, the less I like this guy. So he's dead to me. Medora is here because of this, so we'll talk to that after that. Now we'll get to the good Gravekeepers. Recruiter. If this raid controls sent to the graveyard, add Gravekeeper monster 1500 defense or less. Forget your hand. This card is amazing. He searches everything but the second goodest one, or possibly the goodest one. Searches the big guy, searches the killer guy, searches your Necro Valley guy, does not search him, and self-searches. He is strong, he is good, and we like to bring him back from the graveyard. So he is, for sure, good card. Spy. This card is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic for a good freaking reason. He has too many defense and an amazing flip effect. Especially when a Gravekeeper's monster with 15 house attack from your deck. That's him. That's him. That's him. No. Attack. 300 attack. So, he's cool. Actually, you get this one. Where's the thing on this one? Still ain't good enough. So you could also get another copy of himself out. That is one of the biggest parts of this card. So even outside of a Gravekeeper strategy, you have a set spy, they attack into him, you could get another spy out. Now you have 2 tribute monsters, you can tribute them for anything. You can ritual summon them off. In any other format, you can Xyz them off, link them off. Doesn't matter. Card's great. He is good. Only problem is if people start playing to out flip monsters or big defense monsters. Gravekeeper's Descendant. Tribute. This card is your aggressive card. So you have your defensive, your offensive, and your floater. That's why this deck is like these 3 just do all the work. Tribute one other face-up Gravekeeper monster to target one card your opponent controls to show that target. He's really good. So if they attack into him, and they only have 1 attacker, you can just bring this guy out and just start popping their crap and doing all the damage you want. So he is just flabbergastedly strong as an offensive card because he can destroy spells, traps, or monsters. Oh my god, Gravekeepers are boring. Anywho, he can destroy everything. So we like him. He's strong. Gravekeeper Oracle, the MFer himself. Tribute 3 monsters or 1 monsters to tribute some of this card, but not set. You can tribute 3 or 1. I think you tribute 2 also. Because I think the actual tribute summon thing is 8 or higher is 2 tributes. Hold on. I came back with the old rulebook, types of the word tribute, and yes, 7 or higher is 2 tributes. So, to confirm, you can tribute for him for 1, 2, or 3 monsters, but not set. So if you do 1 or 3, you can't set them. This card, Gravekeeper, tribute 3 monsters or 1 Gravekeeper. So if you're tribute for one, it has to be a Gravekeeper. You tribute 3 of anything. Whew. Or 2 for anything. When this card tributes summon, you can activate any of these effects and resolve in sequence up to the number of Gravekeepers monsters tribute for this summon. This card gains attack equal to the combined levels of all monsters tributed for the tribute summon on the field. So if you tribute another copy of him, he actually goes to a shit ton. I think he's at level 10, 3, 6, 9, 10. So he goes to 3,000. So that's pretty cool. Destroy all set monsters your opponent controls. That seems really good, given some cards we got. All monsters your opponent controls currently lose all their attack and defense. That's also really good. So typically with this card, you're using one of the two of these. Either one of these effects. If you're tributing for 3, you're just a greedy boy. I don't understand why you tribute for 3. I don't think you ever have to tribute for 3. It's a bit much. Even if you were to spy to recruiter, tribute both for him, blow up all their face down, or make everything lose 2,000 attack and gain points. He goes to 27. You're dealing almost all their life. I mean, even just reducing, if you just have spy, get recruiter, tribute recruiter, get oracle, add another thing because this game's stupid. Just use the effect of neg 2,000, and then you have 32 on board, and you can kill 2 monsters. I mean, if you're tributing for 3, you're being greedy, or your stuff's all flipped down, but you're probably being greedy. Anywho, back to the spells. Gravekeeper Steel. Target 2 Gravekeeper monsters in your graveyard, add them to your hand. This effect cannot be negated by Necro Valley. This card can be DD Crowed. But what's cool is you get to, if you're using these nonsense to float through your stuff, even, coming on. You're filling your graveyard fast, you could get it all back. Seems pretty strong, but I think it's not good enough in this fast-paced game we have. Especially if cards like Amazon Onslaught are around, then you're never getting stuff in graveyards with a dead card. Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. This card reads to be obnoxiously strong. Until you think about it. Activate only if both a Gravekeepers monster and Necro Valley are on the field. Or just this thing. Neither player can special summon monsters. Well, that's pretty good. Except Gravekeepers monsters. Well, that's even better. If either Gravekeeper monster or Necro Valley is not on the field, destroy this card. This card loves to kill itself by every means possible. Book of Moon, MST on the Necro Valley, Floodgate Trap Hole. It's gonna kill itself. This card is actually booty butt cheeks. But hilariously, one of the few cards one of these skills can add. So I'm gonna pull it down here. Necro Valley. The king of the deck. We finally got it correctly. We don't talk about that. Anywho, all Gravekeeper monsters gain a bunch of attack and defense. This is noticeable. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Well, that seems very good. Negate any card or effect that would remove a card from the graveyard to a different place. That also seems good. Negate any card or effect that changes the types or attributes in the graveyard. I don't know what modern card this stops, but it stops it. So, Necro Valley is a floodgate in the graveyard. It's a very interesting card. It's very strong. But hilariously, I don't think it's good in Gravekeepers right now. I think this card's a very good anti-meta call for some other decks. But really, this, like Exchange of Spirits, rather. This card stops Exchange of Spirits in its tracks. I don't think it stops enough right now to play it. And for that reason, these two actually missed the cut for me most of the time. Gravekeeper's Trap. It says Gravekeeper's Trap, but how good is it? When Exchange of Spirits is in the graveyard, Exchange of Spirits. Exchange. If only. Alright. If that's in your graveyard, your opponent can activate the cards in the graveyard. Whoa. Your opponent can activate the effects of cards in the graveyard. That's actually really strong on this card. Or summon monsters from the graveyard. This is Necro Valley. This is all the things in Necro Valley you need. But only if this is in the grave. Okay. You can only use the effect of this thing once per turn. That makes sense. During the main phase, you can discard one card, add a Gravekeeper or Earth Fairy monster from your deck to your hand. Well, so this is a Trap Rota then. That sounds good. Or as this feller. Back here. During your opponent's draw phase, before their normal draw, so that means when you say end phase, you need to say Gravekeeper's Trap. Because before the normal draw, and they do the normal draw as soon as you say pass turn. So, in the same breath, you say end phase Gravekeeper's Trap. Or if you're playing on Dueling Book, type it in the chat before you even pass turn. That's the best way to actually resolve this effect without getting a judge called for no reason. If this card is face up right in the field, I guess we should tell you about that. Declare a card name. That's cost. Funny. Look at the cards drawn for the normal draw. And if it was a declared card, send it to the graveyard. That's really cool. Because every turn you get free knowledge. You don't even have to call anything smart. You can call Green Gadget. It does not matter. But you get to look at their hand every time they play a card. This means their spell and trap cards and monsters will never be a surprise to you. Unless it's already in their hand and they're open. This card, I'm dying today. This card can be paired with Mind Crush pretty strongly, and you could really choose to pick them apart. But I'm indifferent on Mind Crush right now because I don't know what's all good right now. Anywho, this card's funny by all means, but I think the biggest part of this is once per turn, discard a card, add a Gravekeeper. I think this turns this into a once per both players, because the trap card, both players' turns, you get to fix your entire hand. I think it's amazing, especially with cards like Recruiter, who's going to float. So if it's a set card, they attack Recruiter, you add something, you flip this up before they end their battle phase, you discard Recruiter, maybe add something else, or discard any other things to help you really fix your hand even more so. Based on your spell trap lineup, you might be able to get more advantage. It feels like a free float. And so we like that. It's also your only way to search Spy. Let's go over Exchange of Spirits real quick. Both players have a bunch of cards in the graveyard, pay life, swap their graveyards and decks. This, you can only play once per duel. This card's terrible in here. It goes against everything you need, so you'll never get that part. What does Medora do? Because Medora says Gravekeeper's Trap, so we're going to see if he's good. Discard one of their fairy monster special card, place Gravekeeper's Trap from your deck to your spell trap zone, face up. Well, shit. We're not going to play any of their fairy monsters. I don't think it's worth playing 3 of him to search one of these. I think that makes your deck far too big for far too little value in the Gravekeeper deck. If you can make Earth Fairy list with Gravekeepers, God bless. I cannot. But I like this one still. This is a trap version of Gravekeepers Monster Reborn that works under Necro Valley. So, if it's a trap version of Monster Reborn, so it's slower, only works on your Gravekeeper monsters in the graveyard. So it's worse than Monster Reborn. Unaffected by Necro Valley. This is big thing is different than Monster Reborn. Well, I don't like Necro Valley right now, so I like this even less. But this goes down here for later. Soul Luna. This card's in the new box, and this card to me reads Gravekeeper's card. Because target one monster you control, one monster your opponent controls. Apply the following effects on each monster, depending on the battle position. If it's up, put it down. If it's down, put it up. But it goes to face-up defense. You only play one Soul Luna per turn. This thing reads to me as set Spy, set Soul Luna, next turn you win. Your opponent summons a monster, you flip it down, you flip Spy up. You get Recruiter, fantastic. Or conversely, if they can't kill Spy, so they attack into Spy for no value, or they hurt themselves, you get a monster. And then, before they end their turn, you Soul Luna, flip your Spy down, and the next turn you get to flip it up, get Descendant, pop everything they've ever loved in their lives, and then beat them up with him. That sounds so strong to me. I mean, it just sounds so strong to me. Soul and Luna just reads as a Gravekeeper card to me. So these are all the cards I really like from the Gravekeeper archetype and Soul and Luna, which is a Gravekeeper card to me. So let's go over the skills now. Sort of the duel. Oh, this is the Shade of Spirit one. Let's rewind then. Gravekeepers are one of the decks that is an independent of a skill kind of deck. It's so strong by itself. You can play with any skill. That makes it super hard to pick your skill card because you have nothing but options. So you can play this deck several ways, and you can try to really work your opponent and figure out where you can get advantage because, like you said, you have offensive, defense, and floating cards. So you get to work your skill however you think might fit your strategy best. So let's go over like the good generic skills and a couple of the Gravekeeper specific skills. So as dual flips card over, cool. During your draw phase, then conduct your normal draw. Look at the top 2 cards, add one to your hand, and send it to the graveyard. Skip your next battle phase. You don't need the rest of this because we're not playing a Shade of Spirit. So this card will allow you in a Gravekeeper deck to let you slow the game down, get advantage through drawing like a madman, and just making sure you always have a way to punish your opponent. You don't necessarily have to attack them if you're going to destroy their stuff with Descendant anyway. It's a good fit, I think. Battle City Bestie, the problem card from Amazons. You take no value on your turn. We like that. Once per turn during your end phase, your opponent activated card. This is the part we're actually going to use in this deck. With Amazons, you abused both, but in Gravekeepers, I think you just abuse this one. You start beating them up, and if they cry about it, you draw. So we like that mindset. Against this deck, Spy and Recruiter will kind of beat you up yourself. They're going to activate your opponent's turn a lot. But you might be able to side this to even help counterplay someone else's Battle City Bestie. I think this Gravekeeper is one of the few decks that could also, since it doesn't need a skill card, it just nets advantage. So you could run it. There's Imperil. I love this skill for Gravekeepers. Sort of dual flipping over, fine. Twice per duel, apply the effect. Flip all monsters you control face down. Shuffle your monster zones. So you go whoop, whoop, whoop. Then target one. You can change battle position of one monster you control. So they're all flipped down, so you change the face-up attack. Skill can only be used once per turn. This card reads to me, set Spy, flip Spy, same turn. Well, if we go back a bit, set Spy, they attack, use Soul and Luna, you get advantage for free. So they attack and you get Recruiter, end of battle phase, or end of their turn, end phase, Soul and Luna, flip Spy back down, hard manual flip them, you get Descendant. No. I think we save our Soul and Luna. So let's go without Soul and Luna. Forget you for now. I wanted the Soul. Okay. So, they attack Spy. You get Recruiter. Your turn comes up. You activate Desert's Peril. You flip both these face down. Then you flip Spy back up. You get Descendant for no normal summon. Which means you can flip your Recruiter back up, pop everything they love, add an Oracle, or another Recruiter. Normal summon for either more popping or more ass kicking, whatever you want to give them the most. And you can just keep... You get to do that twice per duel. That is humongous. I think this is my favorite card for Gravekeepers. And it's not even meant for Gravekeepers. Actual Gravekeeper thing. If you lose half your life points... with these skills, if you actually gain life points, you can do it more than 3 times in a duel. So you lose life, activate a skill during your next draw phase. During your draw, you may search your deck for Gravekeeper card, reveal it to your opponent, add to your hand instead of drawing. So, okay, it's not once per duel. This thing sucks. All these skills that take damage, except for, I think, Destiny draw where you actually lose half, where you lose 2,000. Pick whatever. All these ones are old and they suck, and they're old and they suck, and they suck and they're old. They're out. Another Necro Valley card. Sort of duel flips card over once per duel. Discard one card. Add one spell trap that mentions Necro Valley from your graveyard to your hand. That's not a long list. Necro Valley. That only allows you to add these 3 cards. So let's continue reading. Oh, that's it. Once per duel, discard a card, add one of these. That'll never net you a win. Never, ever, forever. That sucks. Looking to the future, it was popular with other decks. I think it could be popular with Gravekeepers as well. So the dual flip skill over when you activate the skill. Okay. During your main phase, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, return them in any order. So you get to stack your deck. You can activate spell cards that's turning you to use a skill. Flip this card over at the end of the turn, you activate the skill. That's funny. Well, so if you actually care, you're supposed to flip this card over a bunch. But normally people just flip it out and leave it up. But I digress. Every turn you get to stack your deck. This card seems super strong if you're playing a more control-y variant. The only problem with this card is you're going to search your own deck. This card has just become much worse to me. I like it normally if you're able to sit, maybe in a more aggressive build, if you're playing like Assailant, crap like that, and your spells are more focused on protecting than resolving Spy, but why would you do that? Spy's best card. This card sucks. It's a cool skill, by all means, but you search too much. This card's not good in here. At the start of your opponent's turn, before they draw, you look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So this is another card that's pretty good in a controlling way. Once per duel, you get to bully your opponent for 3 turns. You could combo this with Gravekeepers Trap and really lock them out of their next 3 draws. But you'd have to do it after this is already up for a turn. I think that's a cool strategy in general, that you could kind of pick and choose what your opponent's doing. But I don't think it's necessarily amazing, but it could be. So I put it on here. If your opponent's life points are more than twice your skill, opponent's life points is more than twice your life points, you're getting your butt kicked. Activate this skill. You may look at the top card of both you and your opponent's decks at any time. That's hysterical. This also goes back to if you're using Trap, you can stun them indefinitely forever, hilariously. So if you could play a card that reduces your life points and you play Gravekeepers Trap, you can lock them out of every single thing they ever do the rest of the game. That sounds so strong. The only problem is it's not good. It's not necessarily great in Gravekeepers, but I think I put both these here because I'll just use your cards and they go kind of in a crappy way with Gravekeepers Trap. But we go back to a Gravekeeper card. This is early in speed. Start the duel, this in the field zone, flip it over. This card treats as Necro Valley and gains less attack with none of the negates. This thing sucks. I don't see a world where you starting with 200 boost, you might as well be playing like Mountain or Yami or actual Umi. This thing is not great. Unless we get like the strong like counter trap, I don't see this thing ever being remotely playable. Just play the real one. You could search it, and none of the good ones even need Necro Valley. So I think it sucks, but I put it on here because it's here. Twisted Personality. This is the king of cards that belong in decks that don't need skills. Every time, so we'll flip it over. Each time you use life, place 1 counter as card, 3 max. Once per turn, during your main phase, use one of the following skills. Remove 2 counters. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Remove 3 counters. Destroy a face-up card your opponent controls. Card. Wow, that's cool. I thought it was just monsters. So, in a world where you're playing like in a deck with without like a skill that's needed. I mean, you put spy in attack or recruiter in attack mode, they're gonna kill him. You're gonna get a counter, and then you're netting advantage before they even know what's going on. This card is always worth looking at, I think, in decks that don't need skills. But so is Bestie. So it's hard to figure out which one you think is better for you. So that wraps up the Gravekeeper cards. Here's what I think is decent. And I got two deck lists for Gravekeepers. I'm going to try going over. So the first one I'm going to go with is the As a Predicted skill where you draw two. This deck relies more on stalling your opponent and picking your hand carefully. Where we're using Commandant Necro Valley, we're stunning them. That's the goal. It's really slow them down. I think 3-3-2. I think 2 Descend is plenty. I think if you have 3 Descendant when you're building these decks, you have the chance to open up 3. And if you open 3 Descendant, I think you're losing the game. So I think 2 Descendant's fine because he's pretty easy to get to him with Trap. And I put a steal in here, so I think there's plenty of ways to get to him. I play 2 of the Tribute Guy. The Tribute Guy is strong. 2, I think, is the perfect number for him in almost every build. He is so easy to access because of Recruiter, which we play at 3. Spy for 3 for the same reason. It lets you basically pick your entire hand the whole game. Sphere Karibo, I think, is a strong card because in this deck because you get to protect Descendant, and because I like playing Allure of Darkness in this kind of controlling area deck. Every time I play Allure of Darkness, I want to play Sphere Karibo. It's a personal preference of mine. I think I'd rather get rid of Sphere Karibo than Engine almost every time I play Allure. I'm also always thankful to draw into Sphere Karibo when I'm protecting something like a big asset. Book of Moon, and its new best friend, Soul of Luna. Sure, over there. Recycle the crap out of Spy. Slow your opponent down by all means. If they're playing stuff like Tribe Infecting Virus, or if they're playing Snipe Hunter, or if they're playing Dark Magician, you just flip that son of a gun right down, and their turn stops. It's a strong card, it's a strong out. I think Book of Moon is super strong, and this deck can play 6 of them very, very effectively. Another interesting thing about Book of Moon and Soul of Luna is you can tribute and use his effect to destroy set monster your opponent controls, which is why I'm also looking at Quaking Mirror Force in this deck. So you get to bully your opponent by flipping all their stuff down and then destroying it en masse with Gravekeepers Oracle. I think that's super, super, super strong. Gravekeeper Steel is an awesome card because it lets you recycle all your big-ass floating cards. If you tribute Recruiter for Oracle, add an Oracle, tribute Oracle for Oracle, return Oracle, Recruiter. That's funny to me. Always being able to Commandant back or Spy back, I think, is also very strong. Also, because the skill makes you discard in your draw phase, you can kind of freely get them back. I also think this is one of the easier cards you discard off the skill too. But I think I like that idea that you can kind of mitigate the skill a bit. I think 2 Necro Valley is plenty. I think 2 and 1 is a good ratio. I think if you want to play 3, you can. I think 1 Deck Thinner and 2 Field Spell feels right. This puts him at 2,500 defense, which I think is huge. You could also play Metaverse instead of Commandant. The value of Metaverse is that you could do it on Attack Declaration or in Chain Links. So then you can play Necro Valley mid-chain and negate stuff. If your opponent activates Monster Reborn, target a monster, chain Metaverse, get Necro Valley, it fizzles for no value. I also think if they attack into Spy or into one of these fellers and you flip a Metaverse, you can kind of kill their monster for free on their turn because it's already too late. So it's kind of iffy if you have to play Commandant or Metaverse. I still think I like Commandant because I'd let them waste their MSTs on this than this. Gravekeepers Trap is a very good card. In a 30-card deck, I think 3 is correct. I like the fact that I get to pick my hand out of almost my entire deck. I like the fact that you can only control one, which means I'm going to discard the other copies of it. I also think I'll discard it off this if I already have one face up. It feels like a free discard. I'm not really losing advantage. Uh, if it's face up, you're always kind of. You can even keep one set, for Pete's sakes. Where if you're just trying to bully their hand at that point, and they blow it up, you call some MST. Well, they MST in response. Well, okay, you got another one, so you can keep searching. Quaking Mirror Force. This card is great to protect this feller, or this feller, or this feller, but mostly because he's going to get free board nukes. So this is my sample list for an Ishizu list. I like this deck a little less than the next one. And of course, the other list was the Odeon list. I absolutely love Odeon with Spy. I think they're meant to be, and it's adorable. They look so great together. So same monster lineup, except I cut Necro Valley, so Common has no need to be in here. 2 Descendant still feels right to me. 2 Recruiters to change there. 3 Spy. I want Spy more than everything else because my goal is to abuse Spy. I think the right answer is to get this deck as close as you can to 20 cards. I've got 23, which may not be right. I like the idea of playing 2 MSTs right now. I think that's the best way to do them. Monster Reborn, I think, is so damn good in Gravekeepers. Descendant, get Recruiter, use your skill. You have Descendant pass, they attack, or you have Spy, they attack Spy, summon Recruiter. On your turn, use your skill, flip them both up, get Descendant out. So now you have Descendant, Recruiter, and Spy. Well, now you get to go Hail Mary on them. You Descendant, pop Recruiter, add something, Reborn, bring Recruiter back, pop something again, add another thing. Your hand should be fixed the rest of the game right there. If you add the second Descendant and the second Spy, you still have your whole deck's in your hand. You should never have a dry moment for monsters the rest of the game. Because you should be adding 1 Oracle off one of those tributes. And then you can tribute Spy, get Oracle, you have 3,500 on board, you're kicking their ass. You're doing the work, So I love Reborn and Gravekeepers, which is why I don't really like Necro Valley in here. Soul Luna, just before, I think, even just having set Soul Luna, set Spy, even against Amazons, I think is a strong play. You have a set Spy, you Soul Luna them, you gain advantage as their turn ends. Then on your turn, on their turn, you're flipping this thing up. Then you get to use your skill again. And like I said, you're at 3 monsters wide yet again, popping 2-3 cards they own, and you're beating them up. They are down an advantage. I would just recommend Amazons to go for the spell trap cards first, because you get rid of Onslaught before they go to battle phase. And you get rid of Onslaught before you kill their monsters, so they don't get it back for free and get more searching. But I love Soul Luna, love Spy, love Reborn. Back to Gravekeepers Trap. It's your Rhoda. I think it's worth playing. I get that it's going to feel... If you get Spy in this, you don't need this at all. 1 lick. This is not doing you favors. It is just more punishing. That being said, if you do not get Spy, you want Spy. So I almost like 3 in here, but like I said, I want to get it close to 20. So I went for 2. Malevolent Catastrophe. This card, I don't think it's talked about enough. This card kicks ass. Back to Spy shenanigans. They attack in your Spy. You Malevolent Catastrophe. You get rid of whatever they loved. Their turn is over. You are now 2 monsters high. Or sorry, on your turn, you have 3 monsters wide. You're going to be beating them up. There's no bones about it. You're beating them up. In a scenario where they have 1 monster, they attack Spy, Malevolent Catastrophe, you blow up all their back row. Spy's probably living. You get Recruiter, use your skill, flip them down and up. You get Descendant. Descendant pop Recruiter. Add another Descendant. Then Descendant plus 12 is 4,200. That's enough to win. I love this card in this deck. That being said, Quaking always feels right as long as Oracle's in this deck. Maybe not a 3, but I think it really punishes your opponent. And if you get to pick apart their back row as their monsters sit until you're ready to kick their ass, do it. Absolutely do it. Um, and then I think all I've left here is for side deck. And I was right. Yeah, these are the side deck options I kind of like for against uh, Gravekeepers. I love Joe Roy against Gravekeepers. I think he's super strong. Because you can kill Spy before damage counts. So I don't think it flips up. Yeah. So you get to auto kill it, and I like that a lot. No one to cross out. You get rid of all their spies the entire game. And it also doesn't play into Soul and Luna. So that's humongous. I think it's crazy strong. If you get to knock all 3 of their spies out, I don't know how Gravekeepers even pretend to win. They have to have everything forever, and you have to play pretty poorly into it. Last Day of Witch. This card, gross. That cannot. Is that the only? Yeah, it is. Last Day of. Sorry, I've never seen that card before. The Soul and Luna play that I keep talking about is very strong. If they Soul and Luna you and you Last Day of Witch them, they're adding Spy off of. No, they can't add Spy for Recruiter. Their next turn is not nearly as good as it would have been. I think this card. I think these 2 cards are probably the strongest options against Gravekeepers, but it's kind of hard in some sense to play them. Last Day of Witch has value because if you live against Dark Magician, it's also a Dark Magician killer if they don't beat you that turn. But I think these 2 are both very strong. I think Macrocosmos is hilariously kind of strong too. They don't get Recruiter anymore, I don't think. Recruit. To the graveyard. Yep. So they don't get Recruiter anymore, which is pretty not good for them. I also think any deck that plays as I predicted kind of is upset about getting macroed. Either be banished, banish the Radiance, macro, or the other guy that does it. Turning off their graveyard, it has to be impactful against a deck that says, I want to dig deep. Especially if you don't know if they're going to play Exchange of Spirits or not. This card will always turn off Exchange of Spirits. So I like that for this card. And the last thing is Trafficking Virus. For the same reason of Last Day in Witch, except the problem is you can get Book of Moon or Soul Illumined. They're all spellcasters. If you save it and then they attack you for as much as they can, it's not enough, you wipe them out. This is just Last Day of Witch with legs, but you can't stop it. You can't stop Last Day of Witch. So you gotta kind of weigh your options there. I'll do like a test play, and then that should be it. Alright guys, so we opened a perfect hand of Gravekeepers Spy, Soul, and Luna. The Ojamas are just going to be placeholders for blank cards because I think it is helpful. Anywho, so this deck, interestingly, wants to go first. So you'll set the Spy, and set Soul and Luna. You'll then pass turn to your opponent. So, your opponent does many things right now, like play a monster. We have an out to a monster. If that monster happens to be Dark Magician or Snipe Hunter, we flip Soul Luna on summon, so they cannot beat the crap out of us. And that can kind of end their turn. Now, for Amazons, when they summon the Princess, which they always seem to have, they're going to add spell trap cards, they're going to go Battle Phase. When they say Battle Phase, you flip the Soul Luna, and you turn the turn off. So you flip the Soul Luna, you flip your boy, and it goes to defense. You get a free summon right now, so we will take advantage of that. We will get Gravekeeper Recruiter. Now, their turn's probably over, unless they've had everything or the counterplay like a Last Day of Witch. If that's the case, then you're just kind of hosed. Then it goes back to our turn. So already this is, like I said, that's just a normal draw. So we have 3 other cards in play besides these 2. This is a low committal board. Even just setting Soul Luna and Spy, you could have more cards to play. This is low committal. MST, run to Spy. Spy doesn't die. You still playing. Anywho, flip your Odeon skill. You shuffle these around. I think this is how you would do it on Dueling Book. Ooh, look at that. I like that image. Anywho, you can't even set them. That's stupid. Anywho, so what happens in real life is you set them both face down, you put them in your hand, you shuffle them, and you shuffle them super hard, and they're completely confused. And then you decide to flip this one back up because of your skill resolves. That gets Spy to activate. So from here, we get Descendant. That's Summon the Field. Then we flip Summoner Boy Recruiter. Cool. Now we have the ability to start destroying everything they ever loved in their life. So use Descendant effect, pop Recruiter, and the best thing out of Recruiter normally is another Recruiter. He goes to hand. So like I said, Recruiter cannot search Spy. That's the only card he can't search. You can then normal summon Recruiter again. Or if you have Monster Reborn, you could have done that also. Anywho, you can pop this one too. And then you get what we call another monster. You can get this feller. You could have also gotten the other Descendant. I think you want to kind of put this in your hand. I think he's better to have in hand than to draw for turn. So you can do that right now, and I think you're pretty well off. So instead of also double recruitering, you could have added him to hand. Or, if they didn't have a lot last turn, instead of adding recruiter, the first time around, you can add another Descendant. You have 15, 15, 12, that's 42. Anywho, so on the second recruiter, if you decide to just play, I recommend adding Oracle. You can either pop Spy right now to get rid of another card, so you've gotten rid of 2 back row already. You can kill an Amazon princess with this, do it for 15, get them lower. You can also just pop Spy now and pop a third thing in for 15 that way. You just beat the crap out of them for all you want at this point. I'd like to try and keep Spy on field, I think, because if you're playing cards like Soul Luna, if you have another copy of it, you can then get them again next turn, flip your Spy up manually, and just keep going. I was wondering if you can. You can. So anywho, you could. I like to keep Gravekeepers Spy kind of in play because you could kind of bait them with your Mirror Forces. You could bait them with the Malevolent Catastrophe. You can make it really want it, And then next turn you could tribute someone for Oracle. And I think you are just about winning this game. Like I said, you have 3 other cards in play. This is all the spell traps you could ever ask for in life. This deck just seems super interesting. It's historically been one of the strongest kind of card for card deck. You might be able to run Potted Avarice in this deck if you really get creative. A third recruiter might be good. It's hard to say. Just going to the player, you went through your 2 recruiters so fast, and you still net them out a lot of their advantage. But that's kind of the play, though. The last thing I want to bring up was thank you, everyone. I was shocked that there's even 77 people who even seen Speed Duels played before. This is significantly better than I thought the Amazon video would do, that's for sure. And thanks. If you have any other decks that you want me to go over, I am more than willing to do it again. I do plan on hitting a couple other decks I think are good right now, but I appreciate. Feel free to leave any comments, share, whatever. I don't care about the analytics, but I do care that people are interested in finding out more about Speed Duels. Thanks.